Welcome back to the double leg. I have one half of the show, Hey Job Picks, joining me in after UFC 283, the parlay, who was on fire Saturday night. And you started it off with the NFL parlay that cashed, what was it, plus two, over 2,000?
Yeah, it's like 20,
before these
21.
fights even started.
Yeah, and it cashed in the first 7 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Kelsey first touchdown and Christian Kirk anytime touchdown?
Yep. And those are the first two to score in the first 7-8 minutes of the game. And I was like, I can be a complete degenerate tonight for the UFC fights. And luckily, I was hot in the UFC. Ended up being a really good night.
Yeah, you're not a degenerate unless you lose, and
Yeah.
you weren't losing. So you had your night. You had a great night. I was barely in the green. I was happy to just be in the green. But let's hear about your big winnings, because you had quite a few of them.
I put a bunch of plays out publicly on TikTok. And that's always risky because you get a bunch of people in the comments who call you out saying, oh, that's never going to hit. And then when it doesn't hit, everybody's the first one to say, oh, that didn't age well, or L take, all that good stuff. So being right on TikTok is way better than winning a bet, in my opinion. I mean, just knowing that nobody can really say anything on your post is fun. But I hit a 6-leg parlay with, Ior Potieria, Johnny Walker, Jessica Andrade, Daniel Marcos, Bonfim, and that might be it. But that was like plus 1,000, a little over plus 1,000. That one hit. I won a BetOpenly contest, picked 6 straight fighters to win that. Johnny Walker first round KO, Jonathan Almeida KO. Jamahal Hill, made a prediction video on him winning. Brandon Moreno. I mean, it was a fun night. It was a really fun night.
Yeah, and speaking of being right on TikTok, man, it's if you're right, you're feeling great.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, and I wasn't even wrong. Let's just say that. I made a video on Gilbert Burns. I said Gilbert Burns on the money line at minus 500 is a bad bet, and I got a lot of heat for it because they're like assuming that I'm saying Neil Magny's going to beat him and Gilbert Burns is going to lose. But I'm not saying that. I said in the video, Gilbert Burns is probably going to win, but minus 500, I don't think is a good bet.
Yeah.
If you take him inside the distance, take him by sub, take him by KO, that's a lot better if you're that confident in him. But minus 500 in that high level of a fight, I don't like it. So I'm currently still taking heat for that. I don't understand. But he ran
it's got to be, exactly. I mean, it's got to be people that don't understand sports betting because I don't think there's a single UFC fighter I would put money on at minus 500. I mean, you can find a better play within the lines, some prop, KO sub, inside the distance, something. But minus 500, I mean, that's risking $500 just to win $100. So, I mean, the risk reward's not there at all because we've seen it over and over and over. These big favorites get upset. Vegas loves that shit. That's how they make their living. And, so minus 500 on any fighter is just not a good bet at all, in my opinion. Yeah,
I mean, I'd agree with that. You can't put minus 500 on anything. Injuries happen. Yeah. An eye poke could happen. A couple nut shots, and the guy's taps out and just was like goes for the DQ win. Anything like that. There's so many different ways that a minus 500 ticket could mess you up. Yeah. So that's the point. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I tried to explain that in the video, but a lot of people just don't get it. So
people just think that means that you think Neil Magny is going to go out there and win for whatever reason, which is not even remotely close to being true.
Yeah.
It's just that, the minus 500 for a high level fight, just doesn't make any sense. Too risky.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I also, the predictions that do go right for you don't get near the amount of attention. So I put out Jamahal Hill winning. Crickets on that one. Even the people that commented to say that Glover was going to sub him like so super easy. Yeah, it is what it is. But that's what we do. We open ourselves up to criticism, and we're either right or we're wrong, and we'll live by it. But if you're in the comments saying that we're right or we're wrong, put your money where your mouth is. If you like Gilbert Burns at minus 500, show me your ticket.
Yep.
I'm saying, like, put your money where your mouth is or don't say anything. So
99% of the time, they will not show a ticket. They don't even have a ticket. Nothing. They're just there to talk. So
yeah, doesn't make sense. But we both ended in the green. That's all that matters. And we're looking forward to staying in that direction going forward. We got a week off this weekend, and then the Apex card in 8 straight weeks, as far as we know. I haven't looked past that schedule, but 8 straight weeks could be more than that. But we'll get right into a recap in UFC 283. A couple of most of the fights were really good in my opinion. A couple upsets and a lot of violence, really. Even the ones that went to decision, kind of bloodbaths. A couple bad beats if you had the unders in those fights, including myself. The main event, Glover Teixeira and Jamahal Hill. To recap, basically, we both had Jamahal Hill. I had Jamahal Hill on the money line. If you had Jamahal Hill by KO, I'm hurting for you, man. Like, that's why when it's that close in a discrepancy, when it's like, Jamahal Hill, I think his money line was like minus 135, minus 140, somewhere in there. I think his KO was like minus 120, somewhere around there. You're not getting a lot of point value. It's like at that point, you might as well just pay the extra couple points and just take the money line, because in times like that, you're going to be feeling really shitty about yourself if he goes out there and performs like he did and you don't get to cash your ticket. So glad I took the money line on that. But the last leg of my parlay was the fight to knock the distance, and that was minus 600. And that was a bad beat. So I didn't cash that parlay. But overall, man, Glover Teixeira, what a warrior, going out on a shield. They should have stopped the fight a couple times, and Glover, too tough for his own being. The chin on him, I don't understand. I mean, this guy, how many times have he been knocked out? Like,
I want to say 3.
Yeah.
It might be a lot more than that. 3 times?
Gustafsson, Anthony Johnson, and in his very first MMA fight back in 2002. I mean, he's survived with John Jones. OSP's got power. Cannoneer's got power. Thiago Santos got power. Anthony Smith. Krylov. I mean, he's been in Prochazka, Jamahal Hill. Like,
yeah.
The guy's got a chin. He could take anything. I mean, went 5 rounds with Jamahal Hill. Nobody's done that. Went 5 rounds with Jiri Prochazka, really.
Yeah. Was winning. Yeah.
Was winning. And Jamahal Hill looked super good, though. We both thought he was going to be a lot more athletic, going to be able to touch him and stuff the takedowns just because of that athleticism. And Teixeira being so old, he's not going to be able to be as quick and get underneath him to get him to the ground. So overall, I thought it was a really good main event.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that main event fight. And one of the main reasons I went with Jamahal Hill is because of Glover's age, being 43. Like, we all know Glover's tough, and we all know he's a phenomenal fighter. But, I mean, 43 years old and taking damage like he did against Jiri, I mean, that just can't last. And he proved that he is tough enough to last 5 rounds with a guy like Jamahal Hill. But like you said, man, that fight could have been stopped a couple of times. Those cuts were really bad, and he was on his back. Jamahal Hill was on top, just raining down shots. Those head kicks were nasty that had him wobbled. So, I mean, Glover, hats off for how tough he is, fighting since way back when, taking damage through his whole entire career, and still at 43, going out without getting TKO'd or KO'd when his face looked like that, and when he got hit by the most significant strikes ever in a light heavyweight fight. Jamahal Hill set that record. It's crazy. Glover's going to go down as a legend, Hall of Famer, amazing career, one of the toughest dudes in the whole world. But, man, Jamahal Hill just showed that he's at the top, and he's going to be tough to beat for everybody, even Jiri. I mean, that's a tough fight for Jiri after seeing what I just saw against Glover, because if you go back and watch, Glover had him in full mount twice, and Jamahal Hill ended up back on his feet within 30 seconds. I mean, that's impressive. Usually when Glover gets guys to the ground, you don't get up. I mean, Jan Blachowicz had him down, flattened him out, choked him out. He just does that to guys. He mauls guys. And Jamahal Hill found himself underneath Glover a few times. And like I said, man, he got back up, got on top, showed he can grapple. He showed he can go 5 rounds and throw over 200 significant strikes. That's crazy. I mean, he just showed he's here. And he's definitely championship material. And it's going to be fun watching him in championship fights going forward.
Agreed, man. I don't think a lot of people knew who Jamahal Hill was. That's the problem. I think that's how we got such a good price on him because I mean he 50-44 Glover Teixeira, and really he wasn't really in danger in many spots. I mean, he got mounted, but he got up, got out of it. He didn't take a lot of damage in those spots.
Yeah,
I think the reason people didn't know about him is because he got his arm snapped on a pay-per-view. So I mean, that's not a good look for the pay-per-view. And then 3 straight Apex fights.
Yeah.
No, not a people that tune into the Apex fights. They don't really care too much about them. 2 of them were main events, and he just wasn't really in the spotlight. People are like, oh, this guy, he's going to get taken to the ground and submitted by Glover easily because they all know Glover from the fight with Jan and the fight with Jiri. And they saw that, he got his arm snapped by Paul Craig. He's like, this is going to be an easy fight for Glover. And the exact opposite, 50-44. Shout out to Jamahal Hill. Sweet dreams. I wanted to say sweet dreams after he knocked him out so bad, but he did not. But
he was close.
232 significant strikes, 180 to the head, man. Those I was calling for that head kick the whole time. I'm like, just go back to southpaw, rip kicks to the body, and then throw a couple to the head. Like your hands aren't doing it, man. Your legs, your head kicks are the only thing that's putting them out. So awesome fight.
It really was. It was a good main event.
Yeah, and then I thought a pretty good co-main event. Kind of a tough ending for Figueiredo if you're a fan of Figueiredo. But either way, it was super high level. Like first couple of rounds was like, whew, these guys are moving fast. Moreno looked like he was on another level, though. And the commentator said that the judges gave the second round to Figueiredo. I don't know how, man. Like, unless you're going to score the guillotine, him going for that guillotine, like, super highly, I don't think you really should. But, either way, it was 1-1, I guess, going into the third. Moreno cracks him with, was it like kind of like a looping left hook. The knuckle gets kind of in his eye. I think might have broken his orbital bone, and the eye swells up, and they stop it. So Moreno cashes, and he is the undisputed champion. I thought for a second there that they were maybe going to call it an eye poke, and then we were going to get a 5th fight, and I was like, oh God, like this is just never going to end. But it's over. It's all over.
Yeah.
The Moreno-Figueiredo battle is over, man. Moreno is the better fighter. I think he proved it. So.
Yeah, I know. I do too. I mean, I made a video before Brandon Moreno fought Kai Kara France saying that Brandon Moreno is the best flyweight in the world. I mean, technically, his boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all of it. And, I mean, Figueiredo, before Brandon Moreno got up to the title, into title contention, and Henry Cejudo left, and Mighty Mouse was out of the UFC, it was Figueiredo dominating everybody. And he was, people saying he could be one of the greatest flyweights of all time if he keeps this up. And then Brandon Moreno comes along and gives him all he can handle, finishes him twice now out of their 4 fights. Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. That shot was just kind of a weird shot. Just sometimes it's the weird shots like that cut you, or like in the case of last night, got the knuckle right in the eye. His orbital bone definitely looked broken because it was puffed out, his eyes swollen shut. I mean, you could see in the corner they were going to stop it because he couldn't even open his eye.
Yeah, I couldn't see like any at all. Like usually there's like a little sliver you could see through. That thing was couldn't see it at all.
But I think if Pantoja, I mean, eventually I think we get that, and Moreno and Pantoja would be a fun fight.
That's gonna be such a good fight.
Yeah,
just action packed. Like,
there's not a lot of
He doesn't take a step back. He goes forward, and he's a beast on the ground. And Moreno is game for anywhere. So that's gonna be a great fight.
There's not a lot of flyweights at the top, but the ones that are up there are super talented right now.
Yeah, we get. I mean, maybe a Makayev climbs the ranks, although he's fighting some newcomer in his next fight that he's just kind of taking.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later. Gilbert Burns, Neil Magny, we kind of alluded to it earlier in the whole spiel there, but Gilbert made it look pretty easy. Guess you could say he looked like a minus 500 favorite, but still wouldn't be willing to lay that. And hindsight's always 20/20, so pretty easy to say. But Gilbert looked good. I don't know, like, what's up with Neil Magny? Like, why did he take this fight? Why did he want this fight? What's his motive right now? You know, like, just kind of a weird fight for him to take. I guess Gilbert was kind of wanted to fight on the Brazil card, and was like, all right, I could probably beat this guy pretty easily, so I'll take it. But what'd you think of it?
Yeah, no, not really what I expected. I expected it to go a little bit longer, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like you said, well, I don't know what Magny was doing taking this fight. And it's kind of weird he got offered it because he just got smoked by Shavkat Rakhmonov, and then you're going to go fight up again, jump the rankings and fight Gilbert and get smoked by him too. But, I mean, Neil Magny's a pioneer, not a pioneer, I don't even know what to call him, but he's been in the UFC a long time. He has, I think, the most wins at welterweight. Is that right?
Yeah, most wins.
Yeah. So that's impressive. Been around a long time, but, I mean, Gilbert's such a savage and, a guy who can get you on the ground and submit you. And Neil Magny, though, I don't know. I know he's getting some wear and tear on him, but he's high level, but against guys that are, I guess, just hungry to get that belt, get back into title contention like Gilbert was. I mean, I just don't see him having a chance against those top-level guys.
Yeah, it looked like when he was on the ground, his size helps him in some aspects of being longer and able to keep guys or get guys off of him and get separation. But him being longer and bigger also impedes him from getting up quicker. And
right.
I think that kind of messed him up there.
Yep.
When Gilbert had him on the ground, and he was able to get separation, but he's just never able to get back up to his feet, and ultimately gets caught in the arm triangle. So the women's flyweight bout, this had to be one of the biggest dominations I have ever seen. I mean, we talk about Jamahal Hill landing 232 significant strikes, 50-44 in Glover Teixeira. And then we look at Jessica Andrade and Lauren Murphy, 25-30 on two of the judges' scorecards. She lands 231 significant strikes in a 3-round fight.
And dude, every one of them
were
landing clean.
I don't know. You had Andrade by KO, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have it, but if I did, I would have been screaming at my TV. I don't know how they let Lauren Murphy stay up, but at the end, it's like she went, when there's like 2 minutes left, it's like, all right, you kind of just got to let her finish it. But that could have been stopped in the first round. Like,
oh yeah,
anytime during the fight, that could have been stopped, and her corner could have stopped it too. So
I have no idea what the ref was looking at. I mean, he was just kind of standing there like, just watching the show go on. And Lauren Murphy was, on a few occasions, if I was a ref and I saw her take another big shot, I mean, I would have stepped in because she was taking brain damage, dude. I'm surprised her corner and her husband in the corner let her go back in after that fourth round.
Yeah.
I mean, she was getting pieced up. Her face was swollen and battered, and nothing good was going to come out of it. She wasn't going to find a win in that fifth round. So I'm surprised. I thought my bet was going to cash because they were going to throw the towel in there at the end. I really did. But they let her go back out there, and she got her ass beat for one more round. So,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, when Glover was about to go out for that fifth round, and they were kind of like calling for the fight to stop, and then Glover's like, nah, I'm going to go back in the fight and everything. And then he goes out and hugs Jamahal Hill. And in my mind, I'm like, Jamal's probably going to take it a little bit easier on him. Like, he might take the foot off the gas here. And then Glover gets that takedown, and I'm like, you better not take your foot off the fucking gas right now. Because Glover could get that fifth round. Like, he could pull something out of his back pocket. And Lauren Murphy was not going to do that. So, not a fucking chance. And she just looked really bad. Like,
she did. Slow.
super slow, and all around just like terrible defense. Like, I don't know how she survived 4 rounds with Valentina. Like,
no, yeah, exactly.
That kind of makes Valentina look like really bad, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
Lauren Murphy's defense, I hate to like shit on fighters, but her defense was just backing up in a straight line with her head in like a straight line. She's just backing up. Andrade is just walking towards her, just throwing bam, 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 leg kick over and over again. Like, I get it. You're probably concussed. You're probably not able to like process that after a round or two, but like still, if you just keep doing the same thing and it's not working, man, that was hard to watch. It was hard to watch because it was so predictable. Like, there was just nothing ever going to happen. And for Andrade, she fought at 115 her last fight.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like the bigger woman at 125. And
she did. Yeah, she did.
Lauren Murphy's usually looks pretty big for 125, but when I'm watching that fight, her hands look smaller than Andrade. Like, the gloves look tiny compared to Andrade. Andrade looks like a problem in anywhere that she wants it. So I don't know. Maybe, what is it? Valentina's scheduled to fight Grasso for the championship.
Yeah, so I mean, Andrade could be kind of lurking.
Next up, man. Like, wherever she wants. Honestly, she could do it 115, 125, wherever. She's a stud.
She can hit. I mean, she can hit like a truck. And I will say, Lauren Murphy, maybe the toughest woman in the division for staying on her feet that whole time after getting hit like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to be more than just super tough at this level. But I mean, Andrade, Lauren Murphy might not have been that tough of an opponent. But I mean, dude, that standing arm triangle she had in her last fight. I mean, she slammed Rose Namajunas and finished Rose, a couple of years ago. And she's brutal when she's in there. She is pure violence. Yeah. And that's the kind of fighter that's going to beat a girl like Valentina Shevchenko. Mark this down just in case it happens. But, people that are going to cause problems for Valentina are people like Jessica Andrade, who's good everywhere and can mix it up on the feet and strike with the best of them. Because she showed last night that she might be the best technical boxer in the division. She looked phenomenal.
Her and Weili are like two of the most exciting women's fighters that you can really ask for. I mean, just straight up killers. Paul Craig, Johnny Walker. We both had Johnny Walker first round KO. Cashed that, and I think a lot of people did, man. I mean, there's always those people that actually. Let me correct myself. It's not Paul Craig. It's Paul Krieg. Paul Krieg.
Yeah, Krieg.
So people get me in the comments for that one. The Scottish. Sorry out there for all the Scottish people watching. It's Paul Krieg and Johnny Walker. He could be a problem, man. 6'6". 205. I don't know how he makes 205. 6'6". That's crazy. Like, to think I'm like 185, to think I'm 5'11", 7 more inches and 20 pounds. Hell no. That's insane.
He's got a huge frame too.
Unreal. Yeah, I mean, he's not like a thin dude. His legs, he's got like a really good build too. I mean, smaller torso, just massive legs. And they're not thin. Like, they're thick as hell. He's throwing those leg kicks, and they hurt. But Paul Craig is having none of that.
Yeah.
He did not last long, which we didn't think he would.
But. No. Paul Craig's got to be the most – if you're a fan of Paul Craig, and if last night you had a bet on him to win, or you just love watching him fight, he's got to be the most frustrating fighter to be a fan of. Because, I mean, he submitted Jamahal Hill, Magomed Ankalaev, had those big wins, and then – he gets pumped up for these face-offs and the ceremonial weigh-ins, paints his face, gets into the other fighters' face, gets into the octagon on fight night, runs circles, talking trash right in his opponent's face, and then he gets knocked out while he's on a single leg. Johnny Walker just kind of backhanded him and he dropped, and then just hammer fisted him until he was out. And I mean, that's kind of against Volkan Ozdemir, he got pieced up in that fight too. And that's why going into this fight, I kind of thought Paul Craig is just submission or bust at this time.
Yes.
If he can get you in his guard and, he's dangerous. He can get the submissions on anybody, but if it stays on the feet and he can't get the takedowns and get the fight to the ground, man, he's going to get beat by a lot of people. I think he's overrated. And
yeah, no, he is, man.
I had people in the comments bashing me for saying he was overrated, even after he got knocked out last night, saying, "Oh, he did this, he did that." But I mean, I'm not saying his jiu-jitsu is overrated or his ground game's overrated, but his all around skills at the UFC level, I mean, he's overrated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's like. Well, I know how he's still in the rankings, but like, it's just crazy to think that he's a top 10. Light heavyweight. I guess the division's not super deep, but funniest part about that was him still holding on to that single leg when he getting bashed in the head.
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting smacked in the head. You're gonna keep it in the same place and just hold on to this leg and hope he stops hitting you. That makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, this was probably the easiest round KO prop I've ever hit in my life. I mean, you could smell this one coming from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Walker,
what, plus 160, something like that. It wasn't a big banger, but it was still fun to hit and everything. So
yeah, I mean, Johnny Walker going forward, he's this division's not that deep.
No.
And he just beat Paul Craig, and that's 2 first-round knockouts for him in a row, or 2 first-round finishes, I believe, right? It was a submission in the first round, yeah. So, I mean, he's 1 fight away from being in the conversation at least, maybe 2 fights away from fighting for the title.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Craig's was number 9. He'll be lower than that, but Johnny Walker probably moves up to number 9.
Yeah.
Here, Krylov's got a fight booked. Jamahal Hill just fought Anthony Smith. Maybe he gets Anthony Smith.
What's he, 11 or was 11?
Anthony Smith is 6 right now.
6? Oh, okay, I don't know what I was thinking.
Rakic is probably still injured right now, but 4 is Jan Blachowicz. And then 3, Ankalaev, 2, Glover's going to be out. And then Jiri. So, it's probably Anthony Smith or Rakic.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Jan or somebody like that, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
weird. Just a weird thought, man.
Yeah, I know.
To think about that, but I mean, he's got potential.
I think they rushed him at first too fast when he first got into the UFC. But he's, like you said, he's climbing back in it now, getting a lot of first-round finishes. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, the guy's a goon too. I mean, he's just a goofy dude. Shogun Rua retiring. I was hoping he could put up a little bit better of a fight than that.
Yeah.
But Potieria pretty much makes pretty easy work from him. Shogun, I think he cracked him like a little on like 1 punch or whatever. I got a little excited, but yeah, Potieria, pretty easy work there. Shogun goes out. Sad to see him go out like that, but I think most people saw it coming. Anything else on that one, or we just cruise?
I had Potieria by KO and just basically fading the old guy who was knowing he was going to retire, 1 foot out the door. I had to. So
yeah, maybe that was the thing that like kind of took the air out of the crowd.
Yeah,
Shogun losing it could have been, could have been. One thought on that though, the Jose Aldo going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that was cool to see in Rio and everything. Guess you kind of had to have it be in Rio, so that was cool. The parlay buster, Bruno Ferreira. Goddamn, man. Gregory Rodriguez. I rewatched that fight today, and dude, Rodriguez looked bad. He
looked slow. I mean, I don't know, slower than normal.
He looked very slow,
timid. I don't know. He didn't look right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really bad loss too. I mean, he was scheduled to fight Tavares. He was basically going to get, I don't know, is Tavares ranked? He was going to get a ranked fight. I don't know. Tavares is like right outside the rankings because he's probably maybe like 17, 18, somewhere around that range. So probably 1 fight away from getting a ranked opponent had he beat Tavares, and he gets a guy making his debut. That's a tough loss. Like, where do you go from here? I mean, when I rewatched that fight, he looked really bad. Like, he looked really simple, just straight 1-2s, just walk you down 1-2s. And it looked like Ferreira got that, read it, and kind of pulled something out. In the finishing sequence, he threw a left hook, kind of pulled it back, ducked, and then Rodrigues was going to go 1-2 again, and he caught him like right in between it with that left hand. So it looked like Ferreira figured him out within a round and picked his shot perfectly on the chin, puts him out. Lost a couple of my parlays, so that was not fun to do. But
yeah, busted one of mine too, a smaller one I had. But that left hand, that was beautiful. That was a beautiful shot. Knocked him out cold. Ferreira's a guy that could be exciting. I mean, he's got that power. We'll see how he does going past the first round in the future. But, man, he's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got to be a welterweight. I mean, he's 5'10". Looks like he could cut. I mean, it's 15 pounds. It's tough. But at 5'10", I think you got to go down a weight class. It sucks because, like, you shouldn't have to, but like you kind of do, have to. I mean, Rodrigues 6'3". Bruno's giving up 5 inches of height, and those kind of scenarios you have to make up with it in ways like he did. Timing and precision, and accuracy, and everything like that. And he did, but like, how many fighters can you beat that way as you move up the ladder? It's not gonna. They're not gonna give you those openings. So Thiago Moises getting the sub as we called on the prediction show. I think this guy's super underrated. Thiago Moises, his ground game is so clean. Transitions, top control, and the offensive submissions are there. Like he's getting finishes. He's not just controlling people from the top. Finishing the scrambles, everything like that. Really good performance for him. You got anything else on that one?
I mean, he's taken down Islam before in a fight. He took his time, and I like the patience out of him. He knew the submission was going to come. He just had to get him to the ground and was really patient with it and found the submission. But the guy he fought had pretty good defense for most of the fight. Made me a little bit nervous. I didn't know if Moises was going to find the submission, but he ended up getting it done. That was a fun one to catch, too, at plus 180.
Yeah, him and Moises and Grant Dawson, I believe, trained together down at American Top Team. And it looks like those two guys are just making each other a lot better, especially on the ground. They're both super good grapplers.
For sure.
I would take those guys on the ground against a lot of lightweights.
100%.
Good future for Moises. Gabriel Bonfim getting the first round sub, remaining perfect against Munir Lazzez in 49 seconds. I didn't expect it to end that quick, but
I mean, he found his opening, grabbed the neck, and it was over quick. That's fun to do in front of your home crowd in your UFC debut. I mean, those guys
are a problem.
Yeah,
big problem, and they fight fun. I mean, they're not just grab you and hold on to you type fighters. Like they'll probably be some fan favorites like moving forward, just because they're brothers, especially like two of them, and sure the UFC will try to put them on like similar cards moving forward too. So that's always kind of a fun aspect.
Yeah, and the Brazilian Diaz brothers.
Yeah,
and they
kinda.
They weren't really necessarily given a layup either in their debuts.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean,
they came through. So no, I think they're going to be fun to watch going forward for sure.
Agreed. Can't wait to see who they match up with next.
Yeah.
Jelton Almeida getting it done against the big boy Abdurakhimov. I don't know how, but I put out the play of Jelton Almeida to have more than 4 fight minutes, and people were saying that I lost, thinking I chose Shamil Abdurakhimov to beat him. I don't know how people understand it that way, but I'm literally said in the video, Almeida's gonna win, but Abdurakhimov has never been finished within 4 minutes. So take the over 4 minutes.
Yeah, it
goes well into the second round. I think the over 1.5 hit too, which was plus 300 something. So my pick hit, and somehow people are still telling me that I took an L. But
people hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense, but Almeida gets the dub, and I also had Almeida by KO too. I didn't think he'd be able to get that arm under Shamil's big neck. So
yeah, exactly.
He's gonna have to pound him out.
Almeida obviously is a problem. He's strong. He's aggressive, but he's got to conserve his energy a little bit better. Because if you watch some of those punches, he wanted the ref to stop the fight. The punches, his arms were so blown out, it seemed like he was just kind of barely tapping Shamil on the head. So, when he gets better competition and guys who can, wrestle with him a little bit and strike, I don't know. I just hope he can, not explode and use all those big explosive movements early in the fight. And if he goes to a round 3, there's going to be some people who can get him in trouble.
Yeah.
So, but he's super fun to watch. He's a stud right now. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, and sorry to be repetitive, but I also put out a video of Jilton Almeida. His last 4 fights started off with the snap kick into the double leg within the first 10 seconds. Came out the same way.
Yep.
Snap kick. Shamil cracks him with that right, and I'm like, he must have done his homework. And then 2 seconds later, Almeida gets him with a double leg. So it's like it doesn't matter. At this level, doesn't matter. And Almeida's going to do what he wants to do with you. But as the competition goes up, he's not – we haven't really seen him on the feet. Like, what is he like on the feet? I don't know how you would, stuff a takedown from him. Like, he's as athletic as they come, and he's as strong as they come. He has to go down to light heavyweight. He has to.
Right? I feel like he would dominate there. But, again, dropping down to light heavyweight and some of these guys who have good cardio, it could be a problem for him. But, if you look at the heavyweight division with him, what's he really going to do against a guy like Sergey Pavlovich?
Right.
I think guys like Sergey Pavlovich will give him all he can handle. But I think you take the slow road with this guy. You see where he fits in at 205 or heavyweight division. Take your time because he's going to be a big star in Brazil.
Yeah, he weighed in at 232, so you'd think he didn't. He probably didn't cut any weight, right?
No. So, yeah, he's probably like sitting on that kind of that Stipe style. Stipe kind of fought right around in there.
Yeah, he looked a lot thicker this fight than some of his past ones, but yeah, you'd think 205 would be the move for him because do you really want to get into fights with like guys that have insane power that if you can't get a takedown, like you don't want to stand with those guys.
Yep.
But again, the gas tank and everything. So yeah, we'll see what they do with him. But I don't know. Are they just gonna keep feeding him old heavyweights at this point? I don't know. Yeah. But that was like a matchup that they really wanted for some reason. They tried,
over and over they
3
tried
times.
to schedule that. Yeah.
Weird. Super weird. This one, I will admit, Cody Stamann, Luan Lacerda, I was screaming at my TV watching this one because I had Cody Stamann. He was like a minus 350 favorite, somewhere around there. I don't think – looking back on it now, I don't think that was a good bet. Even though it won, I don't think it was a good bet. Like, he fought – in my opinion, he fought like an absolute idiot. First round was pretty close.
Yeah.
Second round, I thought he won. Third round, it looked like he thought he was up 2 rounds and just kind of coasted and got himself into some tricky scenarios and was on the ground for a minute and a half, somewhere around there, and then got it back up to the feet and kind of realized like, oh shit, I have to do something here to make this somewhat of a close round, somewhere around there. Just dance to the outside. Like, that's not your game, bro. Like, you're not an outside type fighter. He looked pretty good. Like, when he would engage and get into like boxing range, his hands looked pretty good and everything.
He's fast too.
He's fast.
Yeah.
Fast, and he's durable. He's thick. He's got good leg kicks and everything. So I just didn't understand why you trying to move around. It wasn't a good visual either. It's like he just kept trying to run away. It just pissed me off. But
he kept Lacerda in the fight.
Yeah, he really did.
That fight was a lot closer than it would look to the naked eye, because Lacerda arguably could have took in round 1. Yeah. Stamann was round 2, and in that third round, there was some times when I thought shit, I mean, Lacerda could walk away with this round, and he's in Brazil, home country. What's going to happen when it goes to the judges' scorecards? But, Stamann got the win. But, yeah, minus 350. I didn't put Stamann in a parlay or anything like that. I actually had, like, a fourth of a unit on Luan Lacerda just in case he found a submission. But, I mean, Lacerda on the feet, his kicks were decent.
Yeah, his kicks
I think he's just, lacks a little bit of high-level experience, but could be I'm not going to say he's going to be a ranked fighter, but he'll be a decent fighter in the UFC.
Yeah. He had good Muay Thai, and he was just really hittable. He was just flat-footed, good kicks and everything. But I had Stamann in like 2 parlays, and which didn't even matter because Gregory Rodrigues got knocked the fuck out. But at that point, it was like the first leg, and I was sweating it. But yeah, that is what it is. The probably the most exciting moment of the night, Ismail Bonfim getting the flying knee knockout on Terrence McKinney. You called the trap, and if you tailed the trap, props to you. If you fell for the trap, should have listened. But it was definitely the trap of the night. What do you think?
I had a bunch of people telling me, in the comments of that video that basically telling me that I'm saying that the fights are rigged or something like that. And that wasn't what I was saying at all. What I was saying is Vegas was super exposed on that side, and they kept the line really close. And, money just kept pouring in on Terrence McKinney. He had 90% of the money on him, and the line was still deadlocked near pick'em. And with a Bonfim win there, Vegas was going to make a ton of money, and they did. Something was fishy about it. That's why I tried to warn people to stay away from Terrence McKinney, at least. If you wanted to sprinkle something on Ismail, go for it. But taking McKinney in that situation, I don't know, something was up. Something didn't look right.
Yeah, unless you're a diehard like UFC MMA guy, you probably didn't know who Ismail Bonfim was, and you're sitting there thinking he's making his debut. I mean, he's 19-3 or was 18-3. That's not like the flashiest record. Good record, but not like the flashiest record. And Terrence McKinney is like a fan favorite. He's popular on Twitter. Most people know him if you like somewhat follow the UFC, and you're like thinking that's a great price on Terrence McKinney against this guy I've never heard of.
Right, exactly.
And Vegas ate that up, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep this line, even though we're getting 85-90% of the money on Terrence McKinney." The line was pretty much even, like plus 15. Some for Bonfim, maybe like minus 105 for McKinney, somewhere around there.
Yep. So it was fishy.
Yeah, very fishy. And luckily we were both on the Bonfim side, and that was fun to watch. Yeah, it was very fun to watch.
It was nasty knockout, man. Might be a candidate for knockout of the year at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely could be. And I rewatched the fight and did a little breakdown on it, and Bonfim just took over the fight with his patience, and McKinney looked like he didn't want to throw. He looked like he was scared to throw.
Yeah,
he was in places he had never been in his career. It looked like McKinney just always comes out fast, and Bonfim is not going to fall into that trap. Made it to a fight that he liked, where he just had McKinney up against the fence, and he's just waiting in front of him to counter whenever McKinney goes. Cracks him a couple times, hits his mouth guard out, throws a knee, hit him like on the neck, I think it was.
Yeah, it was like neck, side of the jaw. Perfect.
Thank God, because if he hit him in the mouth without his mouth guard, that would have been nasty.
That would have been bad.
And it might not have put him out, like if it hit him in the mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, dang. That was fun to watch.
Impressive for sure.
Pretty nuts. I mean, Bonfim looks kind of undersized. Like, he's like 5'8" for 155. I believe he's 5'8". But he's thick, man. And he is. He closes distance pretty well too. So could be a problem. Nicholas Dalby getting the decision. You were on that. Explain your thoughts on that one. I was on the wrong side. I was just going for the Alves in Brazil getting that weird sub. I was going for it. And I fell for it.
Yeah, no, Dalby is actually super good on the ground. He's durable. He's got great cardio. He's got a chin. I mean, it's super hard to finish Dalby. I don't know if he's ever been knocked out. Maybe once. I can't remember what it was. He has not? Yeah, so I figured if Alves couldn't finish him in the first round, then Dalby was going to win round 2 and 3. And he just showed that his cardio is better, even though Alves didn't, gas as much as I thought he would. Made a little, kind of sweated that one out. Split decision win for Dalby. But I just thought if he could survive, he would take over the fight as it went on. And I thought that he would kind of sway the judges, even though he was in Brazil. I thought he would get 2 and 3 easily. He didn't. It made me pretty nervous, actually. But, yeah, I was just banking on him to survive that first round and then just, taking it over, getting some takedowns, using his slick boxing just to kind of pepper him, jab, 1-2, and just kind of stay at distance and point himself to a decision victory. And he got it done. So that was a good one.
Yeah, Dalby looked good. I mean,
he did look good.
Super durable, dude. Alves cracked him with a couple good ones, and he took him. He didn't even look phased.
Yeah.
My thought process was Alves in Brazil, coming off a loss. He's going to go out there swinging in the first round and look for something and then probably gas himself out.
Yeah.
And maybe you can get something live on Dalby, but he didn't do that. He came out and conserved his energy for once, which
he did.
So something you can't predict. Like going off of his fights recently, it's like he throws everything at you, and then this one he just doesn't. So
yeah.
Weird, very weird, but maybe he's entering that stage in his career where he's being a little bit more calm as a fighter.
He's learned a little bit.
Yeah. He's 32 now, so
he's
maturing. But this one's when I looked at Zara Fairn and I looked at Josiane Nunes, and Zara Fairn struggled to make 145. I think she was 146. She had to have the curtain. She brought the curtain out, the curtain. She barely made 146. And she's a massive girl compared to Josiane Nunes. And I was a little scared, so I didn't take her on the money line in any way. I took her by KO or in the first round or second round, somewhere around there, and the under 2.5, which had really good closing line value. I got it at minus 135, and I think it was around minus 180, somewhere around there at close. So I was feeling good about that. But Zara Fairn, it was just too big. Like, she was just too big. She is not good at all. I don't think she's good at all, to be honest. But she's just too big and too long for Nunes, where Nunes just couldn't reach her. And if you had a minus 500?
For Nunes, yeah.
For Nunes, somewhere around there.
That was a
That was a
sweat.
sweat. That was the definition of a bad bet. And damn, like, that's why you can't get too invested in women's MMA, especially in a women's featherweight bout where it's not even a division. Like, these girls aren't really fighting for much right now. It's like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel of people in the UFC. Can't get too invested in that, but I was upset we didn't hit the under 2.5.
Yeah, and
a sweat.
I had Josiane Nunes by KO, and I missed this. I'll admit it. I missed the size difference. I knew that Josiane was going to be smaller significantly, but dude, when she was in there, when they got in the octagon and they touched gloves, I thought, holy shit, she is way smaller than Zara. I mean, Zara Fairn looked like she was 6'2", and Josiane looked like she was 5'3". It was bad. And then Josiane Nunes got pieced up a little bit there in the early on in the first round. I think it just, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just too invested with her past fights where she just came out swinging hard and connected on every punch. And I should have looked, I guess, the size differential a little bit closer, because you could tell. I mean, Nunes had trouble finding that range and closing the distance to hit her cleanly, and she did good work at times, but nothing that was going to put her out. So wish I would have taken her by decision. That'd have been a good one.
Yeah, you would have got some pretty good money on that one, probably. Or at least better money. But Fairn, anyone her size, she gets rolled. Like, all she had to do is stick her arm out. Like,
She blocked a lot with her arms. Yeah.
Yeah. She just had to stick her arm out, and Nunes wasn't touching her. It's just basically like jab city. All she had to do was just touch her face, and it is. I mean, she's 6-5 now. So it's like that has to be her last fight in the UFC. There's no way to bring her back after that.
Yeah.
Oliveira and Daniel Marcos. We thought the line was pretty much off, and we were right. Daniel Marcos put it on him, man. Like, Oliveira looked terrible.
Yeah.
Really, like, I don't know how many spinning back fists he threw. It didn't look like he knew what the fuck he was doing in there. He was just throwing to throw.
And Marcos just slide out of the way.
Oh, he looked slick. I don't know if it was just because Oliveira looked so bad, but Marcos looked pretty good. So.
He did look good. Yeah. His striking's good. And, you saw it on the Contender Series. He hadn't fought in a couple of years. There was a big question mark on what he was going to look like, if he was even talented enough to fight in the UFC. But, I mean, the leg kicks, the jab, I mean, he's a good striker. He really is. And he doesn't do anything, super flashy or incredible, but he's accurate. He's durable. I mean, he's got great cardio. And I thought he looked really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. And a good plus money cash to start off the night.
Yeah.
Happy about that. It's always good to hit your first bet.
Especially an easier one like that. I mean, he was never in trouble.
No.
He took over the fight and held it there and held his own. And like I said, looked good. First fight of the night, you can get a lot of those underdogs to cash. If you go back and look, I mean, sometimes those lines, Vegas isn't exactly always on the right side in these lower level UFC debuters and, the early prelim fights. I mean, Marcos plus 110 against a guy in Oliveira who just got beat and didn't look very good. I was skeptical, and I stuck to my guns and put a unit or just under a unit, I think, on Marcos as a dog, and he cashed, man. It was a good one.
Yeah, and I thought Marcos would get the decision because Oliveira had never been finished. Yeah. So I had him by decision. But Marcos found that finish, and it looked easy.
Yep.
It looked easy.
It's a fun night of fights. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's good first pay-per-view of the year.
That's it for that card. But a couple questions moving forward. Figueiredo moving up to 135. Do you think he has any success at 135? If so, who does he fight? Like, who do they give him? Who do they give him at 135?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because he's a big 125er, but he's going to be just an average 135er. And he is, like 35 years old now? And you're going to go into a division of killers, probably the most stacked division in the UFC, where everybody in the top 10 is – I don't know if he's better than anybody in the top 10. I don't think he's worse than many guys in the top 10, but I don't think he's necessarily setting himself apart from any of those guys up at the top. I think guys like Sean O'Malley would be a terrible matchup for him. I think he would get boxed up. Going from fighting the guy at Brandon Moreno's size to a almost 6 foot tall Sean O'Malley with that reach and length and good striking like that, I think he gets pieced up. Guys like Marab are just going to be too much with the wrestling and strength. Aljo, people like that are just, Deiveson's good with his jiu-jitsu, but the strength, I just don't see him being strong enough to hang with those guys. I think he's just kind of a middle of the top 10, 15 guy at 135. I really do. Especially at the age, too. I mean, it's a different story if it's 5 years ago and he gets in the mix early, but trying to step into this division right now, I just don't see him. I can see him winning fights. I don't see him making a run at the title necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think he beats anyone like in the top 10. Maybe Pedro Munoz is like maybe the only guy, even in the top 15, maybe the only guy that I think he would probably beat. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, like, you don't know how he's going to fill out 135. He's just absolutely shredded at 125. Like, there's nothing left of him at 125.
Yeah.
So even then, like, how is he going to look 135? It's 5'5". So he's going to be shorter than everyone. And he's not going to be stronger than anyone, I wouldn't think, who knows?
Tell Cody Garbrandt go back up to 135 and give him
Yeah, right. That would actually be a decent fight,
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Figgy and Garbrandt at 135. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. But Jamahal, Jiri, we talked about it a little bit, but I think the odds are about even. From what I saw, I don't Haven't looked at any like official books, but I just saw it on like Instagram or something like that. Odds are about even. I don't know how to feel about that.
That's crazy.
Maybe they're just respecting Jamahal Hill now. They're just like, or maybe they're concerned about the injury with Jiri. Is he going to come back? But my thoughts is like, I don't think Yuri's chin is very good. Like he's been dropped a couple times, or at least rocked a couple times. You know, even in the Glover fight, like Glover rocked him a couple times. In his fight with Dominic Reyes, he got rocked a couple times by Dominic Reyes before he put him out. I don't know that he could take the shots that Glover was taking from Jamahal Hill, and Jamahal Hill has shown nobody else before him could take those shots. So
right,
I don't know, man.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna match up with him size wise, about the same height. I don't know. Maybe Jiri.
I don't think he takes him down.
Yeah, it's like
I don't think he does. I mean, we saw Glover couldn't get it to the ground as often as he wanted to, and you know, if Jamal can stand and bang with people, he's got a chance to beat anybody. And I think he proved himself last night, and he was super impressive. He proved himself in the grappling department against Glover. Proved he can hurt Glover, which not many people have ever done, and proved he can throw over 230 significant strikes in a fight. So that's if you're taking 236 significant strikes from Jamahal Hill, you're superhuman. So if he can land that many on anybody else, I think he could get finishes against most of the guys in the division. Yeah,
the one thing I will say about Jamahal is he was getting zero like threat on the feet from Glover.
Yeah.
So he could see the takedowns coming from a mile away, and he stuffed. What was it, like 17 takedowns or something like that? Something crazy. Glover went 2 for 17. So he's seeing those takedowns come from a mile away, and there were a lot of single legs, kind of like half shots. I didn't really understand it. So if you get him in there,
strong too. Jamahal was, super strong,
very strong. If you get him in there with like someone that is a better wrestler, he could have some problems.
Yeah,
but I'm not doubting Jamahal Hill.
No.
I never have, and a lot of people will not doubt him moving forward. So
yeah,
that's about it for all I got. Unless you got anything else you want to chat about before we head out here.
That's about it. Got a week off and back to it, I guess. But man, this week off's gonna kill me after having so much fun at UFC 283. But I'm looking forward to the next. I mean, not necessarily the next card, but 284. I know it's not the most stacked pay-per-view, but there's gonna be some good matchups and a fun main event that I'm looking forward to.
That pay-per-view fell through pretty hard.
Yeah.
With a lot of fights getting canceled, but yeah, the week off, come back with the card that's at midnight or 1 a.m. For us, and then big pay-per-view with the big main event. So lots to look forward to. We'll probably come out with a news episode or some kind of episode this week to fill the gap in between the time without the card. So until then, at HeyJai Picks on the social medias for me, at the Double Leg on the medias on Instagram and TikTok for the page. If you're watching here on YouTube, please leave a like, subscription, and a comment down below. If you want to chirp us for our predictions, go ahead. But we're in the green, so that's all that matters. Where can they find you?
On TikTok, you can find me at the Parlay. Instagram is the Parlay_media, and YouTube and Twitter is the Parlay MMA. And
go join our Facebook group. We're getting a ton of people in there now, and we just had, God, I forget his name, but he put a full write-up of his predictions. So shout out to him.
Yeah, a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
and he
full write-up for every fight, and he was 13 for 15 on fights. So I mean, he was cooking, and we'll try to get his name in for the next video. But shout out to him. And so if you want to get in there, DM us on Instagram, and we'll get you in there. It's free. That's all you got to do. We give out a giveaway every weekend for the card. We just got to – it's all explained in there. So
all you got to do is hit a plus 500 play.
That's all you got to do.
$20 every week, and if nobody wins, it rolls over, and we add another 20. So the pot's going to build. Somebody's going to hit it one of these weeks. Big jackpot coming for you. Get in there, and we'll have some fun. Till then, Double Leg, signing off.